Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year, and welcome to the January 2021 update to the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour. And once again, I am joined by my friend Brian Crawford. How are you doing, Brian?
Well, I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me back, and Happy New Year, everybody.
So just to let everybody know, and a lot of people have been asking, I am doing much better health-wise. In fact, my sense of balance is returning, and I was actually able to walk down to the pharmacy today on my own, a couple blocks, without having to lean on anything. So I am getting better, and every day seems to be an improvement. So things are looking up health-wise for me. Before we get started, though, I'd like to wish everyone a Happy New Year. Happy 2021. And before we get to all the juicy updates, let's do our shameless plugging that we always start off these vlog updates with. First and foremost, I'd like to remind everybody that we are on Patreon. And it does cost money to help spread our magic. We bring you a total of 3 different podcasts, plus all the content on the Disney Chris website, plus all sorts of fun extras that we offer throughout the months of the year. So even at the $1 level, you are eligible for special rewards. So every little bit helps. And it is a mutually beneficial arrangement because we offer lots of fantastic rewards to our supporters. We have 4 different levels. And we sort of use Jiminy Cricket as our inspiration for how we named our levels. Because the Blue Fairy said, "Prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish, and someday you might be a real boy." So the $1 level are our brave cricketers, $1 to $4. And at that level, you're eligible for the Disney Song of the Day. I send you all 30 to 31, and in some cases 28, and in even rare instances 29 songs that I presented on my website during the preceding month as the song of the day. So I put them in a nice little package and send them off to you for being a brave cricketer.
Truthful. There aren't many Patreon sites that you get something at the $1 level, so
this
you're very
is true.
generous.
Now our truthful cricketers get everything the brave cricketers get, plus 2 other things. They also get a special cartoon commentary, which Brian usually joins us with. And we play an old classic Disney cartoon, and we do a commentary for you over the video. And then we also, I can't remember what else. Oh, the podcast, of course.
Oh, yeah, we do Down the Rabbit Hole.
We have a special podcast that is just for our Patreons at the $5 level or higher, called Down the Rabbit Hole, which we send out every month. And I'll explain that a little bit more in detail in a moment. For our $10 unselfish cricketers, we send all of those rewards plus an additional commentary, which we call our Disneyland documentary, where we provide a commentary over a classic Disneyland TV or theatrical type travelogue or episode or documentary featuring Disneyland. And we've been doing them in chronological order, and we're just at the cusp of starting the color episodes. We've gone through all the black and white ones, now we're at the color ones. So we usually
really fun to do.
We usually send that
Ruthie's
out.
on those too.
Ruthie and Brian do the commentaries, and we will be sending out something really rare and unusual for the month of January. Oh, and all the rewards get sent out at the very end of each month. So the next package of rewards will be coming around the 30th or 31st of January. Now for our $25 level, we call that our official conscience level. And at that level, you get all the rewards we discussed, plus an opportunity to join us on a show. Now, we've never honored that opportunity because we've never had anybody at the $25 level express any interest. But if you are listening to this or watching this and you are a $25 level or higher contributor and you would like to participate in an episode, just let me know and I'll be happy to grant that opportunity to you, because that's your official conscience level reward. So just let us know. So if you would like to contribute to Patreon, you can visit www.patreon.com/DisneyChris, and as long as you sign up before January 30th, you will get the January rewards sent out to you.
Right, I better sign up quick.
Oh, I think somebody already signed you up, Brian. Maybe you didn't know it.
Well, what a nice guy. Hey, you forgot to mention the special audio things that you send out. I think 3 or 5 times a year you send out.
More like 2 or 3. Let's not get crazy.
Like a Christmas one, and those.
Yeah, every once in a while I send out a bonus audio collection, and that goes to all subscribers at every level. And I did recently send one out for Christmas, a bunch of Christmas songs. So those, I usually do those 2 or 3 times a year as well. So another way you can help us out is by purchasing some of our merch. And we have 2 different designs, as you can see. We have the Dateline Jiminy Crickets logo, and then we have the DisneyChris.com logo. And these logos are available on all the different types of merchandise you can purchase. Notebooks, t-shirts, mugs, stickers. There's other things that aren't pictured here, like water bottles and bags. Now, we're not giving out computers or electric guitars. Those are stickers, folks. That you can put on your electric guitar or your laptop. But that being said, the t-shirts are available in multiple colors, not just white. Blue, red, gray, even pink. And we have women's and children's and extra large sizes all available for the t-shirts.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you can get them in different colors, so I'm going to have to check it out.
And if you have all the proceeds from these, if you would like to support our merch, go to help support our website and our podcasts. And to get to that store, you go to https://jcpodcast.threadless.com. The screen will show up and you'll see 2 designs on the main screen. And you pick which design you want, and after you click on the design, then it'll give you the options for all the different merchandise available with that design. And if you choose a shirt, then it'll give you the options for the colors. So there you have to sort of go in a certain order to get to what you want. Another place you can help support us with just your support, it doesn't always have to be financial support, is through Instagram. And Brian is our one and only Instagram moderator. And he's the one who posts all of our pictures and captions and everything. So he's sort of been running Instagram the past few months. And it's DisneyChris_JC_podcast. when Brian started doing it, we had just a little over 300 followers. Now we have over 1,000, so he's been doing a great job, and he posts pictures almost every day, so be sure to check that out.
Yeah, and do us a favor and share it out to if you're on Instagram, share out the Disney Chris_JC_podcast tag, and maybe we can get even more.
And what's your Instagram?
Oh, my Instagram?
Yeah.
I am at Keeping Walt in Disney, all one word.
Facebook is another way.
For you guys.
Oh, okay. Facebook is another way you can help us out. We have a group on Facebook called Jiminy Cricket's Podcast. And if you join our group, that's a great way to follow our activities on our website and through our podcasts. We keep everybody updated over on our Facebook group, and we also share stories about Disney and have fun over there in other ways. Now, speaking of our podcasts, we do have 3 podcasts. Our main podcast, which is our longest running podcast, is called Jiminy Crickets, and it's an audio-only podcast. And on that show, we discuss historical figures, classic Disney films, classic attractions. It's sort of a Wayback Machine podcast where we sort of dive deep into the historical aspects of Disney. And in November, we released part 2 of a 2-part extensive look at the career of Haley Mills, where Brian actually joined us for those episodes. And in December, we released the second part of our 2-part look at the Aristocats animated feature, which just recently celebrated its 50th anniversary. And coming soon, in late January, and Brian will be joining us for this, and it may or may not end up being a 2-part episode, depending on how long we take to... We're going to talk about everyone's favorite Disney actor and star of more Disney films than almost anybody, with only one exception. Kurt Russell is the only one who beats him out, but Dean Jones, we're going to talk about his career and his Disney.
Yeah. Dean Jones is a 2-parter. Kurt Russell's probably going to be a 3-parter if we ever do him.
Right. So look forward to that in January. And to get to listen to these shows and all of our past shows, because we're almost up to episode 132, you can go to jcricketspodcast.blogspot.com. Now, as mentioned, we have 2 other podcasts. One of them is called Dateline Jiminy Crickets. And on Dateline Jiminy Crickets, we talk about news and current events for the most part. Or we just do fun games and fun topics. So it's not as historically regimented. Yeah, it's more about just light stuff. And lately we've been sort of avoiding current events and just doing fun games and stories and things. But we haven't had a new Dateline since October, because we were planning on doing one in December, but I took ill, so we had to skip it. But we are definitely going to have a new Dateline Jiminy Crickets in January. And this is a YouTube show. And it's very visual. We show lots of imagery. You don't get to see my ugly face, but we do show lots of pictures and video, and so it's a visual YouTube experience podcast. Down the Rabbit Hole is our exclusive podcast for Patreon subscribers at the $5 level or higher, and also PayPal subscribers, because PayPal actually has an option to do a monthly payment plan as well. And if you sign up on PayPal to be a monthly contributor, you will get the same level rewards as you would if you were a Patreon. So PayPal subscribers at the $5 level or higher will also receive the Down the Rabbit Hole. And what this is, it's a completely off-the-cuff, unedited roundtable discussion on various topics. Some of them could be controversial. And so, it's all Disney, of course, but there are controversial things about Disney, I suppose. We also would like to mention a website that hosts all of our content for you. It's called The Roarbots, and it's sort of a celebration of geek culture and all the things that sort of fall under that category, like Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek, comic books, Harry Potter, and of course Disney. And we sort of are the main Disney contribution to the site. So be sure to check out theroarbots.com if you're into that sort of thing. Now, I mentioned my website. One thing you would like to know about my website is the Disney Song of the Day. And I just updated it today. Usually I have 3 years of the songs in an archive so you can go back and listen. But I just got rid of 2018 because we're moving on to a new year. So currently you can go back and listen to all the songs from 2020 or 2019. And starting January 1st, you can listen to the first song of the year. And every day throughout the year, I will be posting a Disney song on my homepage and on the Song of the Day archive. And the Song of the Day for January 1st is So Dear to My Heart, from the So Dear to My Heart soundtrack, 1949, which is a personal favorite of mine.
And mine. Love that movie.
Now, one other thing I also do on the website is what I call the Song of the Year. And today, I just selected the Disney Song of the Year for 2020. And the song, there was some debate, and I talked it over with a few people. And we decided...
a lot of time yesterday debating on what it should be.
We decided on Nothing Can Stop Us Now from the new Walt Disney World attraction, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And the main reason I was happy to pick that is because out of all the songs that sort of came out this year, it seemed to be the most Disney-like song. The other songs are very pop music or whatever. Yeah. And I'm not into that, so I was happy to be able to choose this as our song of the year.
Yeah, there was a song from Onward. Yeah. Sort of a song from Soul.
I guess the
songs and not original.
See, the songs from Soul were all covers, so those didn't qualify. They have to be Disney songs.
I think you did a great job. And you want to shout out to the guy that
Joshua Smith is a good friend of ours, friend of the show, and he's the one who reminded me and everybody involved that that is an option. I had completely forgotten, and when he said it, I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah, not a lot of us have been to the parks and even experienced the attraction, so it really wasn't in the forefront of our minds.
No.
And
I have a special edited version because the song on Spotify and Apple Music is only a minute long, but I made an extended version which is actually it's 2 minutes and 15 seconds long, and it includes the main part of the song. I run it through 2 times, and then a special little ending part of the song that's not part of the official album release. So you get to hear a special extended version of the song if you check out my website. So we also have a fairly new feature for those who like to experience my website using their phone or other mobile devices that are not as big screen as a computer. We have a new mobile-friendly version. It's not an app. You go to a URL to experience it. You don't have to download anything other than a browser if you don't have one on your phone yet. But you just, to experience it, you just go to that's the same for everything, DisneyChris.com/311. And that'll take you to a menu where you can experience the mobile version for those using their phone. It's a little less cumbersome and easier to navigate for those using their mobile devices. So now we're done with the shameless plugging, and we're ready to get on to the main story, which is the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, which is what you all came for. So this past month in December, I worked on 5 chapters. There was a little bit of a slowdown period in early December because I was ill. But I'm doing much better now, as I said before. And I have returned to editing content. And I worked on these 5 chapters in the month of December and added new audio to all 5 of these chapters. And we're going to go through them with you. And I'm going to explain to you what all the new tracks are that I added in December. So here is my website, DisneyChris.com. And as you can see, it's all ready for January 1st. We've got our song of the day set up here. And let's go to the first chapter that I worked on. And I can't even remember. What was it, Brian? Frontierland, right?
Somewhere between 1 and 27. I think it was 8. Frontierland?
8 is Frontierland.
Yeah. There you go.
So I sort of revamped all of Frontierland, at least the beginning 20 tracks. I sort of rearranged everything and moved things around. I had finished things and then I wasn't happy with it because I actually had finished up to track 17 and I turned it on and listened to the first 17 tracks and I didn't like the order. I felt it needed to be switched around. So I went in and completely redid the first 20 tracks of the chapter. But now all of that has been updated. So the first... I want to
say something real quick about this chapter.
So, okay.
I used to go to Disneyland a lot on Saturdays, and I love just kind of like relaxing in Frontierland, listening to the music, and just spending Saturday afternoons that way. And so whenever I kind of feel like a longing for that feeling that I had when I was an annual pass holder, I just throw this playlist on, and like all those memories come back. So this is one of my most favorite and cherished chapters in the whole audio tour.
And I knew that because you've mentioned that to me before. So that's why I wanted it to... that's why I put a little extra care into the beginning
just for me,
of it.
Huh? What did I
well,
say?
Not just for you, but it definitely was a thought that occurred to me as I was working on it.
It's just such a nice, peaceful part of the park. And I think you've done this chapter due diligence to recreate that whole atmosphere.
So the first track comes from the 1956 album Walt Disney Takes You to Disneyland, and this is the Frontierland track from that album, where it has a little intro by Walt and then it plays a orchestral piece that represents Frontierland. But I added extra music to it. I added some music from the Westward Ho! The Wagon soundtrack. So this is an extended version of what is on the album. Now these 2 tracks I had already added in November, and I already talked to you about them in the last video, so I'm going to skip over them. And I didn't change anything about these two. This track I did change. I had added it to the site, and then I went back and completely redid it with different music, because I didn't like the music, because I actually had been using the same music from Walt Disney Takes You to Frontierland, and I didn't like it because it was too repetitive, so I chose a completely different piece of background music for it, which is music from the Vanishing Prairie soundtrack, which is actually, if you're in the know, is a song that later became the Pioneer's Prayer from Westward Ho the Wagons, because they added lyrics to it a few years later. But originally it was the Vanishing Prairie theme.
Oh, really?
And so what cool. This is the audio tour for the blind. If you were a sight-impaired guest at Disneyland, you would go to City Hall back in the day. You can still do this, but it's a different recording now, and I don't have those recordings. So if anybody who's sight-impaired and goes to Disneyland happens across those and has a way to get those to me, that's something on my wish list. But that being said, I do have the one by Jack Wagner from the early 80s, and that's what this is. So he basically does a verbal description of Frontierland for the sight-impaired. And because this is a hearing-only website, that's perfect for our purposes, right? So what this is Jack Wagner's description of Frontierland with the Vanishing Prairie music set to the background of it. So that's a lot of fun. And he made a mistake that they didn't fix, and I had to sort of fudge it, because he says this is Frontierland during the area when it was so-and-so. And it's supposed to be during the era, but he said area. And they didn't bother to fix it. So I actually found a different place when he was describing something completely different, where he said era. And I cut that and moved it to this so I could fix it, so he's saying the correct word. So track 5 through 8 I had there since November, so I did not change, but just briefly, these are all musics that sort of represent the gateway into Frontierland. For example, Fife and Drum Corps, the Stockade entrance, and then, which is what they used to play back when Jack Wagner was doing the music. And then now what they currently play when you go through the Frontierland Gateway is this loop here, which is 5.5 minutes long, and I'm calling it the Frontierland Stockade Area Background Music. And it's several songs from the Ken Burns Civil War documentary, believe it or not. So just yesterday I finished this whole section. And this is Frontierland and TV Land. And this covers all the different television episodes that discussed Frontierland in the early days of Walt Disney's anthology program. So I already had this track on the site. And I actually did already have this track, but I didn't have it as part of the Frontierland and TV Land. I just had it as its own thing, but I decided to move it to Frontierland and TV Land, and I added a little something special to the end of the track that wasn't there before. So I moved it and I moved and improved. Now, this is from the 1955, July 14th, 1955, Disneyland TV series final episode of season 2, which ran on TV just 3 days before Disneyland opened, and it was called the Disneyland Pre-Opening Report. Originally I wasn't going to include this on the site, but I decided to split it up into all the different segments that are discussed, and I'm adding these to several chapters where there's a part where they talk about Fantasyland, there's a part where they talk about the Mark Twain Steamboat, which I'm putting on my Rivers of America chapter. So because I decided to use this, I had to reorganize several chapters to make space for this, and it was a huge project. I had to redo several chapters just to add this one track to all those chapters. And this is the one I added for Frontierland. So it opens with Walt Disney thanking everybody involved in the building of Disneyland. Then Winston Hibbler narrates, and he describes sort of the process of things moving from the drawing board to the blueprint phase. And then I specifically edited just the segments about Frontierland that are in his little descriptions. And then I end it with the final part where they sing a bunch of Disney songs and they talk about the characters helping them build Disneyland. So this is going to be the same thing on all those chapters. The difference being the middle part is going to be different. Like the Mark Twain one is going to have Walt and then Winston Hibbler, and then it's going to talk all about the Mark Twain, and then it'll end with that character and the songs portion. So this is the one I'm doing for Frontierland, and I finished this. And then I have the July 17th, 1955 opening day dedication ceremonies of Frontierland, which includes Ronald Reagan, Art Linkletter, and Fess Parker himself singing a song, Bang Goes Old Betsy. It's the original soundtrack from the Dateline Disneyland broadcast from that day.
Bang goes old Betsy.
So this is, these are two things I already had on the site. This is some commercials involving Davy Crockett and Disneyland. This is from the 1956 documentary, theatrical documentary, Disneyland USA. Now, this track I had on the site, but it was called something different, and it was different. It was called Talent Roundup. And when I originally put it on the site, it just had that song, Mickey Mouse Club Talent Roundup. Well, I decided to extend it and include a bunch of songs done by the Mouseketeers that are cowboy or western themed. So now it has Talent Roundup, Triple R, Ranch Song, Dry Gulch Cowboy, and all sorts of fun stuff in addition to all that.
I love their little outfits. They're so cute.
So this I had on the site already, but it's Wally Bogue making a guest appearance on the Mickey Mouse Club. And he actually sings a song about his balloons, which is fun.
Yeah.
And Disneyland the Park is from the 1957 episode of the Disneyland TV show. From Disneyland the Park to Pecos Bill. It's the Frontierland segment from that. And then this I just added. It's from the 1958 episode of Disneyland called An Adventure in the Magic Kingdom, and this is the Frontierland segment. This is from a 1961 TV special produced by the Bell Telephone Company called The Sounds of America. And it has a little montage of Frontierland sounds, and then it goes into this really fun version of Frankie and Johnny called Bessie and Tessie. And it's about sort of a Don Juan character and how he tries to get with a pair of twins, and they end up getting into a cat fight, and it's really fun. But it's all to the song Frankie and Johnny were lovers. You know that song.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's from the old Golden Horseshoe.
Yeah, they used to perform that there. Mm-hmm. And okay, so this is a biggie. And Brian helped me with this, actually.
Oh, this was so much fun.
This was the one you helped me with. This is called This was called Walt Disney's Legends of the American West. I had called it Walt Disney's Heroes of the Frontier, but I changed it because it's not just humans anymore. There's actually animals and in some cases physical objects like guns. are represented. Like the song Bang Goes Old Betsy is about a legendary gun. So it's not just about humans, it's about just legends of the West. And it even isn't only about the West, it should be Legends of America. But I wanted to tie it into Frontierland, so I call it American West. And 90% of the songs are Western related.
Yeah, it's heavy on the frontier side.
What this is all the various songs that represent different things that are Disney produced throughout the years that are sort of about the West. For example, it starts off with the Martins and the Coys, and then it's got Casey at the bat. Then it has Johnny Appleseed and Uncle Remus and Paco Spill and Ichabod Crane and Casey Jones and Davy Crockett. So all those types of things. Whenever possible, I tried to use the original soundtrack of the song, but in several cases I preferred the Disneyland Records version, so I opted to use that instead. But it's nearly a 2-hour mix of all that kind of music. I even have the Coyotes Lament from the 1960 Disney Walt Disney Presents TV special. So it even represents coyotes. There's actually 2 songs about coyotes. That one, I didn't get that one in there because I just felt it was too modern sounding and didn't fit. But I do have the Legend of Lobo, which is another coyote. So he is represented. I have Gallagher. I have the Apple Dumpling Gang, Bullwhip Griffin, Johnny Tremaine, Johnny Shiloh, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, you got some rare stuff in there.
Check it out. Now, there's one song that's a placeholder because I don't have it and I can't find a good copy of it, and it's Daniel Boone. Let me explain. Fess Parker starred in a long-running TV series called Daniel Boone, and the song that he performed for the theme of that series is very well known, and it definitely sounds Disney, but it wasn't produced by Disney. And I'm using that as a placeholder because I'm still looking for the theme song for the Disney version of Daniel Boone, which was on the Walt Disney Presents as a mini-series. And it goes, Daniel Boone was a man, was a big man. And I don't have a good copy of that song. However, a friend of mine has purchased the VHS set of the episodes of that series, and eventually I will have access to it, and at that point I will be revising this and switching out the Fess Parker version of Daniel Boone with the authentic Disney version, and that will come at some point.
Yeah,
an undisclosed
when that friend's
point.
Gonna get that delivered.
Right.
I'm still waiting.
Right. So I added just a couple more things to Frontierland at random. Let me find them. I also inserted this, which I didn't have on the site before. So another thing I added to this chapter, but I haven't finished it yet. Okay, so I added the song from Nature's Wonderland, All Aboard the Mine Train, which is the Sherman Brothers song about the mine train through Nature's Wonderland. And then I also added another fun little mix that I created, Big Thunder Mountain songs from Disney Classics. The reason I did this is because I had already done all but 3 of the songs that are in this when I did that other Frontierland mix. So I figured I might as well get, this one done because it's practically almost done as it is. But what this is the extended loop of Big Thunder Mountain area music from Tokyo and Paris. And even some of the songs are in the Disneyland loop, which is a shorter version of the same loop, are songs from Disney films. So all of those songs in that loop that are from Disney films, I created a little mix of all those songs. For example, Old Yeller is in it, Davy Crockett, Bullwhip Griffin, those types of songs. So that's available as well. It's sort of a shortened version of that other mix, with a couple extra songs that aren't in the other one, like West of the Wide Missouri is in this, and another one is California Gold from Bullwhip Griffin. And also the Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again theme, which isn't in the other mix, because I have the original Apple Dumpling Gang theme in the other mix. So that's Frontierland. So I think before there were 136 tracks, and now we're up to 138, because I added 2. So the next chapter I worked on this past month was the original, I think it was, do you have that list in front of you? I can't even remember any. Oh. Yeah, it is. It's the original Fantasyland. So let's go to that chapter now.
Well, you beat me to it. Chapter 11, right?
So there's less things to discuss on this page, because most of the changes were made in November. But I do have a couple things to show you. So this chapter represents the original Fantasyland pre-1983 Rehab. So basically, one thing I added, which I haven't completed yet, is again this pre-opening report thing, which changed the whole chapter around because I had to bump everything up by 1 number because I inserted a new track.
Yeah.
So what I worked on this chapter is Small World stuff. So this whole section now is completed. Prior to now, I just had 3 of the tracks in this section done, but now I've completed all of them. And so what this is, it's a continent by continent, basically room by room, musical interlude of each room in Small World, circa 1966 to whenever they redid it with the characters in, I think, the 2000s. But this is just music, no singing, just instrumentals, no sound effects, no animals, no singing, only the music. So we have each room represented. Scandinavia, Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, the tropical rainforest, which is now no longer exists. Now they turned that room into the America room now. And they moved the rainforest to the South America room, which is actually where it was when it was at the World's Fair, because they didn't have a Polynesian section in the World's Fair. That was added that was added when they brought it to California.
Oh.
So then the Polynesian Islands, and then the grand finale. So this whole section is done, the whole Small World section. So that's basically all I did for this chapter. So the next chapter I worked on, and I actually worked on it just today, is Mickey's Toontown. And the reason I worked on this today is because I had already added Nothing Can Stop Us Now as the song of the year. So that's also on this page, so I decided to do a few other things and add them all to this page. So these are hot off the press. Now there are some other things that are marked new, but I did those earlier in December, not today. So Welcome to Toontown is basically the Toontown song, with a bunch of sound effects at the beginning. Yeah, the song Toontown, Toontown, welcome to Toontown. The Tunes Are Coming is a song from Disneyland Paris, which definitely fits Mickey's Toontown. It's just sort of a medley of songs. Toontown Ragtime Medley is from that album Ragtime with Chris Calabrese, which has all sorts of songs from the Disney parks. Welcome to Toontown Parade Swing is from a fun album. It's sort of a alternate version of the song Welcome to Toontown with more of a hip-hop beat to it, techno beat. Roger Rabbit Comes to Disneyland is from a 1988 ad that was shown during Christmas when Roger Rabbit was going to make his first appearance in the park right after the movie came out. Mickey's Toontown TV ad is just that. It was the TV ad they showed right when Mickey's Toontown opened. This I added today. This is from the 1990s souvenir VHS called A Day at the Happiest Place on Earth. A Day at Disneyland. This is the Toontown section from that video. This is the full uncut version of the Toontown mailbox. So when you would open the mailbox, in fact it probably still does it now, it would shout things out at you like, "What do you think I am, a mailbox or something?" It would say funny things when you lifted the mailbox lid. So this is the full unedited version. I had a version before that was abridged, but this is uncut, and it's all the it's all the various announcements.
I haven't been to Toontown since my kids were really little. Oh boy.
So, also added today is, as I mentioned, the song Nothing Can Stop Us Now. I said 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It was actually 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I misspoke. And then the last thing I added today was another one of those funny things where you used to be able to pick up a phone at the gas station and it would say funny announcements to you. I added the telephone sound. Etc., etc. It would say funny things.
They have something like that at Tokyo Disneyland's Toontown where you can listen.
Yeah, they probably still do it in Tokyo, but they don't do that in the United States anymore because they thought after a while, they used to have one near Indiana Jones and they used to have one in Tomorrowland near Interventions, but they thought that it might be a problem if someone needs to make an emergency call. So they got rid of those messages a few years ago.
Well, you can still listen to the party line and the coffee.
Yeah, that's not a real phone though. Those aren't meant to be used as real phones. Right. So that's something different. Okay, so the next two lands are both Tomorrowland. Two different segments of Tomorrowland that I worked on. The first one being the original Tomorrowland, which was the Tomorrowland that was there from opening day until they remodeled it in the summer of '67. So this is the original old school Tomorrowland. So this first track is again Walt Disney's introduction to Tomorrowland from that album, Walt Disney Takes You to Disneyland. But the music is totally different. I switched the music. It's a whole different thing. A bunch of these tracks were added last month, so I already talked about them, so I'm skipping over them. This is fun. So this is the Tomorrowland Art Corner, which was a shop that was about located pretty much where the exit to Buzz Lightyear is today, where the little green men's store is today. And it looked like you were outside, and it was decorated to look like the streets of Paris. And it was like an art corner where you could buy art books and art supplies. And then in a little area, they had caricature artists, and you could sit down and have a pastel portrait of yourself made, or a funny caricature drawing. And so they had an announcement that they would play over and over again, saying, for only $1.50, you can have your very own portrait made, and mailing tubes are available free of charge, etc., etc. So I played there were two different announcements, so I alternated them, and I played each announcement one time, and then played a song, and then did the other announcement, and then played a song, and then did another announcement. And what the songs are sort of stereotypical Paris songs played on an accordion, like a street cafe type Paris music, like La Vie en Rose, or I Love Paris in the Springtime, those types of songs,
What comes to mind is part of the show at Epcot and the French Pavilion.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Impressions de France. So I was like,
yeah.
What's the name of that place? Yeah.
Right. So those
there's a nice
stereotypical French songs, and I found an album that very well could have been used in Disneyland because it's from the same mid-century time period, and it's those types of songs that definitely make you think of Paris. So it's a fun little mix that I just sort of created. Oh, this doesn't fit on one line. I have to fix this. It's bleeding over. When I take the new out, it'll fit. But for now, I need to fix it so it fits. But anyway, this is on several other chapters. Like, I think I have it on my Fantasy... No, not on Fantasyland. I have it on the Disneyland Bandstand chapter also. There, at nighttime, this is interesting, at night, where the 20,000 Leagues exhibit was, they would set up a temporary bandstand. This is what it looked like in this picture, in front of the attraction, and they would have headliner big band performers play, and then you would stand outside in the middle of the Tomorrowland main corridor area, and you could dance out there. So they called it the 20,000 Leagues Bandstand. So that's what they used to do before they had as many places set up permanently for people to do dancing. So
now,
this
where was that again?
Right in Tomorrowland, right in front of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Oh, you mean where would it be if it was there today?
Yeah, like right.
It would be in the building where Star Tours is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Basically where the mural is, used to be open air, and you could walk right into that part of the building. You know where the Star Tours mural is? So that's where it would be, right inside there. Across the way from the Circle Vision Theater. What else did I add? An Adventure in the Magic Kingdom House of the Future. This is from that 1958 TV special called An Adventure in the Magic Kingdom. This is the little section that talks about the House of the Future. This is from that album, Walt Disney Takes You to Disneyland. This is the Tomorrowland section that I don't have playing here for track number 1. Instead, I have it down here, minus the Walt Disney part. The reason I have it here is this actually has narration involved, and it describes the moon journey during the music. And Donald Duck and Friends is from a 1960 album. It's the first time Uncle Scrooge ever was heard, because he was a comic book character prior to this. So it's a story, a funny little story about Uncle Scrooge putting all of his money on the moon. So I thought I would include that to hide it from the Beagle Boys. And then the punchline is he doesn't have a way to get it back. He brought all his money to the moon and doesn't have a rocket to go back and get it again. So he has to go back and earn all of his millions all over again. The Rocket Man jetpack launch is from 1965, when they actually, at the Flight Circle, had a rocket jetpack demonstration, and they filmed it and showed it on the Walt Disney Anthology program. I think that's... Oh no, here's another one. Submarine Voyage Introduction is from Disneyland 59. It's the little intro they do before they dedicated the submarines. That was part of that TV special. And Aquatic Ballet of the Mermaids is the music that they played when they showed the Mermaid Ballet during that same TV special.
Now, is that for the real mermaids or the fake ones?
The real mermaids. They're, well, like human, not plastic, like human mermaids. I don't know if any mermaids are real, but... So I updated the monorail section. So the Alweg Corporation, Sky Express in Cologne, this is a little piece of audio about the original monorail that inspired Walt Disney to build his, which was in Cologne, Germany. This is the introduction to the monorail as heard on that same Disneyland 59 TV special. This is the actual dedication of the monorail with Richard Nixon, but this is actually taken from the gala day at Disney. No, I take that back. This is from the actual Disneyland 59 TV special, but they edited out the part where Walt couldn't cut the, or where Tricia Nixon couldn't cut the ribbon. So I did some clever editing and added it back in. And I have like the sound of scissors not cutting and an audience laughing, and I sort of fixed it so that that cutout section is back in. Sort of proud of my little editing job there. The Monorail Song is basically the, you know, the song by Buddy Baker. But I added monorail sound effects during the song, so you hear monorail beeps during the song. Monorail speed ramp safety announcements, that's self-explanatory. Disneyland 61 monorail to the Disneyland Hotel. This is the Disneyland 61 when it's a little intro by Walt talking about how they extended the monorail. And then these songs were already on the website, but I'll mention what they are. This is some area music that was typical of what you would hear in a cocktail lounge in the early 60s. They had a bar right across the monorail station where you could buy, it was the closest place to Disneyland where you could purchase an alcoholic beverage. So a lot of parents would go over there and partake. And then music to ride monorails by is just a whole selection.
My mom would take me on that monorail just for that one purpose.
Oh, did they still have it there when you were?
When I was a kid, yeah, there was the restaurant where you could get a drink. Yeah.
I don't even remember it. My parents didn't drink at all, so they never had a need to go over there. So by the time I went over to the monorail station at the hotel, it was probably already taken out.
Well, she didn't really have to twist my arm, you know. It was like, hey, let's go ride the monorail. And I was like, I'm all for it.
We generally did a round trip.
Yeah.
Which was an option. You couldn't do a round trip if you got on at the hotel, but if you got on at Disneyland, you could do a round trip. So the last track I added are, and I think this is something Brian would appreciate, these are Walt Disney songs from outer space. And these are all songs from the 50s and early 60s that are space themed. And there's not that many, so it's only a 12-minute medley. But it includes songs such as I See the Moon from the Disneyland special Man in Space.
Man in Space. Mm-hmm.
And it has That Crazy Place from Outer Space by Annette. And it has my personal favorite, The Seven Moons of Beta Lyrae from Moon Pilot. Actually, I really do like the song, but not the movie.
It's a great song.
It is a good song.
You hear it at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
You're waiting the whole movie for that one song, and it's like right at the credits, just about.
I'm trying to think. There's got to be more that I... Oh, I also included the Flubber song, because it's sort of sci-fi related.
Yeah, okay.
So it's that type of...
is that why I like it, because of all the live-action film references?
Yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
would. This is one you should check out for sure. You would enjoy that one. All right, so the last chapter we're going to talk about is New Tomorrowland, meaning the Tomorrowland that was refurbished in 1967. So I have several Carousel of Progress things that I added to this chapter. So I need to scroll down to that section, which is a little further down. Mostly instrumental music I added. So Progress Land mirror. So I have a section that represents the original Carousel of Progress, which actually was not called Carousel of Progress until it came to Disneyland. Do you know what it was originally called? Progress Land.
Progress Land, wasn't it?
Yes. So inside the pavilion, they had a mirror maze, and they played music, and this is the music they played. Progress Land Mirror Maze, and I will be adding more music from the 64 World's Fair variation of Progress Land to the site in the future. As you can see, I have a whole section for it. So another track I added is Progress City, and this is the second floor narration after you watch the Carousel of Progress. In the original Disneyland presentation, you would go up a speed ramp to the second floor, and they had a massive model of Progress Land, which was basically Walt's ideas for Epcot. And they would and Mother and Father from the Carousel show would do a running narrative. And then at the end they'd say, okay, get out, move it, make room for the next group. So that's what this is.
Yeah, they were a little more polite than that.
Yeah, they said make sure to make room for more progress or something.
Yeah,
fun. Now
don't stand in the way of progress.
Yeah, don't stand in the way of progress. So this is the Carousel of Progress musical score. So this is all just the music, basically. And these are all the different variations of the song A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow that you would hear throughout the attraction. Just the music, no singing, just instrumentals. So the Progress Land Spectacular is the music you would hear outside of the Carousel Theater as you were waiting. The Kaleidoscope Overture was scene 1, where you would see the GE logo and the curtain would rise and it would give you a little background and introduction to the show. So the next track are all the different instrumentals that you would hear as the carousel was rotating. So you've got the Room one, then you have the Roaring Twenties one, then you have the Gay 90s, Roaring Twenties, Fabulous 40s, and then the Modern Times. So there's 4 different versions. So then I have the Talking Machine, which old Grandma was listening to during the Gay 90s scene. And then I have the Dixieland variation, which Grandpa was listening to with Junior during the 1940s scene. And then also the swing variation, or actually no, this was the 20s scene, the 1920s. The swing variation was heard during the 1940s scene. This time Grandma and Grandpa were listening to the radio. Now the Progress Land March is the music they would play as they were shuffling you up to the second floor. And Progress Land Instrumental is the music they played on the second floor without the narration, just the music by itself. So I have a lot more to add to this chapter, as you can see, but that's what I've added so far. So that's basically where we are as of January 1st. So I have a lot more to add. Let me show you how much more I have to add. Hold on a second. Let me get my bearings here. So the next thing I want to show you is my to-do list. This is my current quote-unquote to-do list. These are the things I'm working on presently. It's not a complete list. Everything in yellow has been set up for final editing. I just have to do the final cleanup. Everything in gray is done and has already been posted to the website. So we've got chapter 7, 8, 9, 10 is done as far as this list. 11, 12, 13, 14. So basically this is all the middle chapters. And then I put as extras some of the things on the beginning and ending chapters as well. And then the next list I have to show you is what I'm calling my master list. This is everything. This is everything that will be added to the site as of now. It could be added to if I obtain more things, change my mind, whatnot. This is also color-coded. So everything in yellow has been set up for final editing. There's only two things marked in blue. Blue means that it's set up for final editing, but I want to make some tweaks to it, basically. There's only two things on this whole list marked in blue, and they happen to be the exact same track that's on two different chapters. If it's in red, I don't have the audio yet, but I am planning on having it at some point, so it's on hold. If it's not colored, it means I haven't edited it yet, but it's on the list to be added. So here's the master list for all the chapters. There's a lot that haven't been edited yet, as you can see. In fact, the lion's share of tracks have not been edited yet or finished yet. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom so you can see exactly how many tracks I have left to do. Because it's a lot. 1,223 to be added to the site. See, this is the other one in blue. It's the same track, but it's on two different chapters. And down here I have my notes for why it's in blue. Disneyland 10th Anniversary Improvements. And I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to do these improvements, but it's the part where Walt is showing Julia Ream the Imagineering department. And as he's walking around, there's all this rustling and footsteps and noise. And I want to get rid of all that because this is an audio experience and you have no idea what's all that noise. So it's going to be a major job to get rid of all that noise. One thought is to put music under it. Another thought is just to get rid of the noise.
You could just loop the 10th anniversary song they sing when the candles are dancing on the cake.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll work. I do have an instrumental version of it. I have an instrumental version of it too, but I'm leaning towards not adding music and just going through and removing all the footsteps and rustles. It can be done. I've done it before on other things. It's just a major major job. And it runs from, I wrote where the time frame runs from, 3 minutes and 50 seconds to 9 minutes. So it's like almost 6 minutes.
Yeah.
5.5. Now, on here it's different because at the 8 minute and 40 second part, they start playing underscore music. So you can't add underscore music over underscore music. So that's why the time is different here. I don't know why I have it set at 1:45, but there must be some reason. Anyway, that is our update for January 2021. And the last thing I'd like to say, and before I speak to you again in February, is thanks for your continued support of DisneyChris.com, Dateline Jiminy Crickets, and the Jiminy Crickets podcast. And thank you again for joining me, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for bearing around to the very end.
And barrel around to see us again. What do you say, Brian? You're supposed to say...
oh man, now you put me on the spot.
I say, y'all come back, you hear? All right, everybody. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye.